We were in a multi-purpose room, and they were not as fortunate as you. They didn't have nice chairs to sit in. They were sitting right on the floor, and some kids were sitting real close. And I always like to give a book away, and I said, if anybody knows Anne Frank's birthday, I'll give them a copy of my book. Well, nobody knew, so just for fun, I said, well, if anybody knows my birthday, I'll give them 2 copies of my book. And there's a girl sitting right up front. She says, I know, August 16th, 1929. I said, how did you know that? She says, you got your birth certificate right there. Yeah. So I gave her half a copy of my book. Okay. When I came back to this country in 1945, I had some aunts and cousins and uncles living in New York. And they had a meeting one night, and they decided what I needed more than anything else after 2 years in 3 concentration camps was some discipline. So they sent me to a military school in Virginia, where I was completely miserable. But one good thing came out of that, and that was my book, okay? I did write my book there, but not as a book. I just wrote it to get it off my chest, because it was really bothering me, and there was nobody to talk to, and so I wrote it all down, put it away, forgot about it, until 35 years later, we were going through the Anne Frank house, my wife and I remembered that I had this written down somewhere. I'd never looked at it again, never mentioned it to anybody. I didn't even know where it was, and 2 years later we accidentally found it, and I had to read it to my wife because it was very badly written, and she insisted that we make a book out of it, which I did not want to, but she kept after me for about 2 years, and I said okay, and then we worked on it for about 3 years, writing and rewriting. She did a wonderful job editing it, and it did finally come out as a book in 1981. Of course, now I'm very happy that I listened to her, because as of a couple of weeks ago, we are in our 9th printing. It was the subject of a television show on NBC called This Is Your Life. And also it came out in Japan a few months ago. This is my book in Japanese. I have no idea what it says, but I know it's about me because it's got my picture in the front. And I'm going to Japan in October to give some lectures there. So that's how I got to write my book. Okay?
When you remember about these times in your life when you were in this camp, do you ever think about getting revenge on the Nazis and all the terrible things that they did to you? Do you ever think about getting revenge?
Okay. Good question. The gentleman wants to know, you can sit down now. The gentleman wants to know, after what the Nazis did to me, that I ever think of getting revenge. I have given that thought, but how would you suggest I go about this? Okay? The only thing that I have ever been able to think of is that I buy a bomber from the United States government, fill it up with bombs, and bomb the hell out of Germany. And that doesn't make, that doesn't make much sense. So, I found out a long time ago that if you are so involved in hatred, that there is not much room in your life for love, and love is much more important. Now, are you asking me, can I ever forgive or forget the people who were responsible? No, never. But to hold it against the whole millions of German people, about 65% of the people in Germany today weren't even alive then. So why should I hold it against them? That would be like for me to say, I hate all of you because of what you did to the Indians in this country. You had nothing to do with that. Where did I get those medals? If you recall, I talked about my father being very athletic, and he had won 85 medals as a bicycle racer, and these are just 4 of them that I put up on display. I thought you people might like to see them. Okay? Okay. Did my mother make it to America? Yes, she did. Well, physically, it took her about 6 months to get over it. Emotionally, she never got over it, and she tried to kill herself several times. And in 1961, she had to be placed permanently in a mental institution in New York City, where she remained the rest of her life, 16 years, in her room by choice. She didn't have to stay in her room. And she died there in May of 1977.
Why did you have to go to that that camp in Virginia?
Why did I have to go to the military school?
Yeah, military.
That's not such a hard word. Okay. Military school. Well, I don't know, my mother started to travel for a few years to raise money for the people who had survived the camps. And there was nobody, I guess, to take care of me. They could have made another decision. They could have said, well, we'll put him with a nice family. No, they had to send me to a military school. It was just awful, okay? Gee, I like your pants. When are you going to finish them? Okay. What is your name?
Joe.
Hello, Joe. How are you? I love that. You know, I asked a boy, I said, you know, what is your name? He says, Joe, because he's talking in front of all the girls. This afternoon after school, he'll get home. He says, Mommy, could I have some milk? Chocolate milk, he says. Okay, Joe, how old are you?
13.
Are you married?
Yeah.
Shall I ask you if she's here? Or she's home taking care of the children? Okay. Joe, are you left-handed or right-handed? Right-handed. Very good. Hold this up in your right hand. The other right hand. This right hand. Yeah. All right. Put your arm up real high. Okay, you put your arm up. Oh, put down your arm. Whoa. No, I'm only kidding. He smells good. Okay, Joe. Do your thing. And hold it to the left so everybody can see it. And this way, to the right. Okay, I'll get you ready for show business. All right. The word Nazi was taken from the name of the one and only political party that was permitted in Germany at the time. We have here the Republicans, the Democrats, but in Germany at that time they only permitted one political party, and that was called, I quit showing off, and that was called the Nationalsozialistische, which is one word with 21 letters. Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, which means National Socialist German Labor Party, and they took 2 syllables out of that. Nazi. Okay? In 1953, I was drafted in the United States Army during the Korean War, and they sent me to some military bases here, taught me how to kill, gave me a rifle, and what do you think they sent me? Back to Germany, you know. So here I was in Germany, only 9 years after I had gotten out of the camp, because by the time I got there it was 1954. I spent 18 months there. I took my wife with me, and my son was born there in Heidelberg, Germany. My own son is a German, and I hate him. No, I don't. In fact, it'll be his birthday, what's today, the 7th? Yeah, in 5 days it'll be his birthday. So and then I have been back, as I said, to give lectures, and I have also been in Germany this past December and January, because we went to Switzerland to visit Mrs. Frank, the lady that was married to Anne Frank's father after the war. So I've been back several times. Yes. Did I ever meet Hitler? I invited him to one of my birthday parties once. He never showed. No, a good question. No, I never did. He never set foot in any of the concentration camps, and he never came to Holland either. And this is one of the things that made a man like Hitler so dangerous. He himself never killed anybody, except for himself on the end. But he had the power to tell other people to do the killing for him. And as a result, millions of people were killed. But he never killed anybody. This gentleman wants to know, did we tell the people about it so they could go and rescue those people? Right? Very interesting question. No, we did not. In the first place, nobody was really interested here at the time. Don't forget that the United States was at war in 2 opposite ends of the world, against Germany and against Japan. And they really were not that interested in what my mother and I had to say, you know. And besides, I mean, the war was more important than rescuing the concentration camp to the American government. Yes. Where did I meet my wife? Which one? I have 2 of them. I had 2 of them. I mean, I had one, now I have another one. The first one was a blind date in New York City. And I was married to her for 15 years, and I guess I must have been blind. And the second, I hope she doesn't get to see this tape. The second one I met just about 16 years ago. I went to a dance, and she was sitting in the same booth that I was sitting at. And I'm very happily married now.
Were you ever forced to kill anybody?
Was I ever forced to kill anybody? Not until I met you, no. No, but after the war did I go back to Europe to testify against some of the Nazis there? No, I did not. First of all, I was not asked. But my camp, Bergen-Belsen, was liberated by the British Army. And the British Army did not mess around. They put all the guards on trial a few weeks after the liberation of the camp. And there were plenty of witnesses there. I mean, thousands, so they didn't need me. And I cannot testify against people from the other camps because I was not there. Did I ever meet anybody after the camps? Yeah. Well, you know, when I left January 21st, 1945, which was getting towards the end of the war, and the Nazis knew that, things really got bad in our camp. They knew they were losing the war, and they really didn't care about the prisoners at all anymore. They cut off the food, they cut off the water supply, and things really got bad, and thousands of people died. Most of the people that I had to leave behind died. Thank God my closest friend Jack, that I write about in the book, and there's this picture, a drawing of him and me boxing in the camp. He was also on This Is Your Life television program. He is still alive, and he's still a very close friend. I spent New Year's Eve with him and his family. His family's like my family. And then a friend of mine in Los Angeles, who happens to also be my attorney, he survived Bergen-Belsen. But most everybody I knew there did not. How is it that my grandmother went to Sobibor? Because Sobibor was a camp that was built for only one purpose in mind, and that was to kill people. There was no selection. I told you about Auschwitz. They'd look people over, and if they were healthy, they'd put them to work. The others were killed. In Sobibor, when you arrived there, you were dead within 1 hour. There was no selection. My grandmother, I think at the time, was 67 years old, useless to them, so they sent her to Auschwitz and killed her. I mean, to Sobibor and killed her. How many? My wife here. My wife is in the hotel. She, first of all, you know, I've given almost 1,000 lectures, and she's probably heard me 600 times. She's getting a little bored, and I don't blame her. But she is in the hotel right now in Sacramento, busy, I hope, writing a book about Otto Frank, Anne Frank's father. She has special permission, exclusive rights to write a book about him. Yeah. What did my bar mitzvah rings look like? And by the way, in the latest edition now, there is a drawing of my father showing me the bar mitzvah rings. Well, I only saw them for like 2 minutes, you know, but I remember they were heavy gold with beautiful red stones and green stones and diamonds. That's all I remember. I was 13 years old, and I only saw him a couple of minutes. I want to again thank Mr. Copeland for making the arrangements. You guys have been most attentive. Thank you. Thank you.